Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, Universal Mastery. So in this today's video, I am going to be speaking about how many people make it into heaven in comparison to how many people are going to be stuck in hell. I'm going to be really breaking down this idea, and I'm going to be breaking down this concept in a very practical way so that you as the listener can actually understand truly what heaven and hell actually is and how to make it so that you experience more heaven in general. This is going to really pierce the veil for a lot of people when it comes to religious programming or religious trauma. So if you want to know a lot more about this subject, then I highly recommend that you stay tuned, and I will see you on the other side. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I want to say is clearly I'm shooting outside today. It is an absolutely beautiful day, so I just thought that it would be best if I shot outside. Okay, speaking about this subject too, I think there's a lot of correspondences to what we're talking about. Okay, so here we go. So the first thing that we want to understand when it comes to heaven and hell is with the understanding that this is not something that you experience after your physical death. Heaven and hell is not an afterlife experience that you go to based on what you do here as a human being. Heaven and hell is literally inside of you right now, and for every single human being in a healthy way, there should actually be a balance between your own inner hell and your own inner heaven. So we can actually start to sort of replace the word heaven with positive, and we can replace the word hell with negative. We could even look at it from the lens of masculine and feminine. We could even look at it from the lens of conscious and unconscious. So every single one of us as human beings has our own inner heaven and we have our own inner hell. But the reality is that yes, most people in today's time are stuck within their internal hell. So they are experiencing a whole bunch of catalyst, a whole bunch of adversary, and a whole bunch of resistance on a daily basis. And then what ends up happening is they start cycling in trauma cycles. So in other words, what that means is all the different painful experiences that you've had to go through in your past, they actually keep reiterating and cycling themselves into your present moment as you're an adult right now. And sometimes it doesn't even make sense how that stuff shows up. So most people are currently living in this state, and they are unconscious of how to move from being trapped within their own hell to then experience more of a heaven-like reality. The first thing that we need to understand is that yes, this is possible. And there is no sort of savior, or there's no person that's going to save you to then move you into your heaven state. This is something that you have to take the responsibility for yourself to embark on that journey that's going to walk you down that path. And this is something that you absolutely can do. And it's 100% possible. I've done it in my own life in many regards. And when I work with different clients, I do this with my one-on-one mentorships and the different clientele work that I do all the time. I see people go from really heavy, bogged down states where they think nothing is going to work out, they don't even want to live anymore, to then a couple months down the road, they're feeling completely different and their lives are starting to change drastically. So the first place that we want to start with this is we do want to understand that the inner hell that you're experiencing is based on trauma that you've been through in the past, and it can even connect to generational trauma, but it's also rooted in the fact that you are still holding yourself into this hell. So you are truly creating your reality right now, and you may unconsciously be making decisions like unhealthy coping mechanisms, unhealthy ways of living, reiterating patterns of abuse that you went through with your family that now you're actually doing to yourself. Okay, so if you went through emotional neglect, if you went through physical abuse and all these different types of forms of trauma, it's very likely that you're actually replaying these forms of neglect and abuse on your own inner child. And that poor inner child gets fragmented and it just needs love and attention again. It needs a new relationship to be built between who you are at your core, who you are at your central self, to all of these wounded parts of you. Once again, these vulnerable parts of you, these protective parts of you, all of these parts of you is what really needs love. But that process is going to start when you understand what's happening within your system. So you are probably unconsciously creating a reality that you're not aware of that is actually holding you in these trauma cycles, which is making your everyday life feeling like you are literally living in hell on earth. And the reason why that's really happening is because you're in resistance to your own shadow. So your shadow is having to manifest resistance on you to actually start facing it. When you start addressing this trauma by creating that healthy foundation so you can start being the parent to yourself that you never had, but you always needed, you are then going to start building completely different relationships with all of your parts. And as you build all of these different, as you start to, let me say, rebuild these relationships with your parts, you're going to have a lot more room within your system to be grounded in what's called your central self, or this is going to be called the true self connection, the higher self connection. This is you feeling comfortable, confident, bold, grounded in who you are as a person. At the core of your being, you are the soul and the spirit that is existing within your physical body. And when we have all these wounded parts of us, it's hard to have that connection with our central self. Most of us are starting to identify with different parts of ourself, which are fragments of the ego that we think is who we are. But really, these are wounded parts of ourself that are most likely children parts of ourself. So we might have a child part of ourself that's like 5 years old running our business or running our work life or running our relationships. And then we wonder, why do all these things never seem to work out for me? Why am I struggling with my finances? Why am I struggling with having more intimate, deeper connected types of relationships? What's actually going on there? So the key is we have to address trauma. Addressing trauma is going to look like processing the emotions, connecting to the body's sensations, addressing coping mechanisms. This is all the stuff that I do when I work with my clients during the one-on-ones. And if any of you here now are interested in working with me and you feel like having support through this process is something that you're really needing, I would be more than honored to be able to support you through this process. So if you want to book with me, you can book with me at the second link in the YouTube video description. And currently I have a full schedule of clients that I'm currently working with, and I work with people from all over the world. Okay? I am watching people go from places of their internal hell, where they've been stuck there for many years, to now moving into states of heaven on earth and experiencing the brighter side of life, the side of life where you feel more regulated and things kind of flow in your favor pretty much all the time. I'm watching it happen with other people. I've done it in my own life. I'm consistently working on it myself. And it's a beautiful thing to observe when it happens. And you can do it as well, but sometimes you need support through that process. So once again, I just wanted to give you the opportunity to seek that support if you feel like it's right for you. Okay, so we also want to know that it's so possible to move into your internal heaven. You can do it. Anyone can do it. Once you start releasing that stored, bogged up energy in your system, and you build the relationship with these different parts of you that have needed your attention for a very long time and have also needed your love and compassion and acceptance, you can literally guarantee that within time, your resonance is going to change. Once again, you're going to feel more of a gravitational pull coming back to your central self, your core connection. And then from there, you're going to naturally start feeling better. And then as your resonance changes, everything around you is going to start changing as well. This is when things start to really work out for you. Your shadow is no longer creating the amount of catalyst that it once did, because now you're embracing your shadow and you're working with it and you're integrating it and you're not afraid of it anymore. You're not trying to run from it. So now through the unconscious realm, you are in alignment with what is in your highest potential. You are in resonance with your core values. And this is when you're in a very magnetic type of state, or a state where you do less and more gets done. Opportunities just pop out of nowhere and they come to you. Your health improves, emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual. This is when you actually start to get much more spiritual in nature as well. You get to really connect to your deeper spiritual roots and understand universal truths, or even be sensitive and sense universal truths that maybe you never did before when you're in this state. So it's important to know that this is possible. Heaven is meant to be experienced on earth, but first we have to understand our hell. We have to understand what created our internal hell. We have to understand why it is that we went through it, even at a spiritual level. Why did I incarnate into a family that brought me through the degree of abuse that maybe I had to go through? And now that I went through this abuse in a practical, integrated way, how do I actually start healing this? How do I actually start resolving this? How do I, become friends with my shadow? How do I build healthier relationships with my wounded inner child parts? How do I embrace ego death and learn to let go and realize I don't need to always protect myself in ways that aren't healthy for me? How do I start to understand it's important to feel and connect with sensations and then change my lifestyle to support this so that I can be a parent for myself? Okay, these are all the things that become so monumental and fundamental, but I promise you, I'm not kidding you, this literally changes your whole life. It changes everything, but it takes consistency and it takes a commitment to yourself, but it's 100% possible. So that's why the very first step here was you have to make sure that you are aware that if you're experiencing hell on earth right now, in some way that you are not aware of, most likely, you are unconsciously creating it, and you are holding yourself in it. And you're probably abusing yourself the same way that you were abused within your family dynamic. So if you can't become aware of that and understand that this could very likely be a reality for yourself, then you're not going to be able to shift out of it, because you're just going to be a victim. You're going to be looking for everything outside of you as the problem, but not realizing that you have the responsibility to shift out of it, and you have the capability to shift out of it. Most importantly, you actually can. So hopefully you can get like a message of hope from this, and a message of confidence that this process is 100% possible. Your life can change for the better. I've done it within my own life drastically. I went from living in my dad's basement, going through severe narcissistic abuse, experiencing extreme degrees of codependency between both my mom and my dad. I felt extremely abandoned by my mom when I was 14 years old, and then she turned to substances. And then that's when I went through a lot of narcissistic abuse from my dad. Over just a little bit over 10 years ago, I was living in his basement with no money, with no sense of purpose, with friendships that were all transactional and not healthy. That was my life. I didn't really have a girlfriend that felt meaningful. I was kind of dating with girls that just didn't feel like the right people. They weren't healthy. It's all because I didn't have that relationship with myself. And then slowly, I decided to break free. And I decided to step out of these things. And it's been a journey, it's been a process. But where I'm at now, look, this is where I live. This is my balcony. This is literally heaven on earth. Like literally, this is heaven, okay? This place that I live now has an HOA that's really expensive, but they keep it so nice. I mean, it's even to the point where it's a nature reserve. And this is so symbolic for me because it's representing the process that I've gone through internally to get to this point where I'm able to live here. And even though the HOA is high, you know, on paper, that doesn't look great in regards to like saving up money or investing, but the environment is what matters the most to me. So I feel that if I feel good with where I live, then I'm going to be able to make more money. And I've been here for, I want to say about 2 years now. And everything has improved financially for myself. I'm not struggling financially at all. Okay, and this place is even called Harmony Circle, which is also very symbolic. There's a person that lives, or not lives, but there's a person that works at the gate here because it's a gated golf course community. And he was my age. And every time I saw him, I would talk to him a little bit. And then it's so funny because I never knew his name. And then I asked him what his name was, and his name was Eden. And then it clicked for me, and I realized I'm living in the Garden of Eden. This is the Garden of Eden. Okay, so unfortunately, as I was recording the video, it ended up overheating in regards to my camera, so I had to stop recording. But here I am picking up right now. It's so funny. As we're going through this process, it's almost like this video itself is a ritual, because we started off over on my balcony, and now we are over here in the Butterfly Garden, which is a place that I have come quite often to just kind of recharge and basically go through my own sense of a metamorphosis. And I've recorded several videos in the Butterfly Garden before, but it's not too often that I do. And funny enough, from this video, specifically titled the way that it is, we ended up inside of the Butterfly Garden again, which is really interesting to notice. All right, so, you know, putting a final wrap on this video here, the whole concept, once again, is to realize heaven and hell is inside of yourself. And I remember some of what, you know, I was saying before the camera overheated. I was just mentioning that, you know, I have physical proof to show that when you go through this process of healing and integration, there are so many things that can shift for you in a very healthy way. And I was just in the process of describing how there's this component of what's going on inside of yourself that is also finding ways to manifest outside of yourself. So with where I was about 10 years ago plus, you know, once again, living in my dad's basement, going through a whole bunch of narcissistic abuse, reiterated over and over and over again. It's like now I'm over here standing in a butterfly garden, which is a really beautiful place to be. And I'm so thankful to be able to be here. But I've gone through a long journey, you know, a 10-year journey plus, you know, to get to this point now. And with the information that it is that I'm sharing with you, you know, this is all the stuff that I've learned over this 10-year plus time frame. So the stuff that I'm sharing with you is what I applied in my life to really get myself to move out of my own internal hell to then step more into my own heaven-like state of reality. And I'm not perfect. There's still things that I'm, you know, healing and things that I'm working on. And this is going to be an everlasting process that is always going to unfold as time goes on. But there's no doubt that I do have results to show that this process does work. And I want to be able to be that encouragement for those of you that are, you know, questioning this and are wondering, like, is this even possible? And I'm just letting you know that it's 110% possible. Even if you don't think it is, I'm telling you 110% it is possible. Okay, so once again, core concept is heaven and hell is existing inside of you. So when you start to go through changes and when you start to go through shifts that move you from being stuck in your own internal hell, and then you start to move into a reality where there's more of a heaven state, that is absolutely something that's amazing and something that can take place. And it's going to be so powerful when you allow that to happen. So that's the main concept of the video. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to wrap that up there. You know, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Drop down into the comment section below and let me know what you learned from this. Share with me what it is that you're understanding, what it is that you're receiving from this message that it is that I'm communicating here. Okay? Hit the notification bell, get notified whenever I'm posting this content, because I promise you, you don't want to miss out. There is tons of valuable information here that you are going to gain a lot of value from, and I am posting on a daily basis. So make sure you're tapping into it and hit the notification bell. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, because by subscribing, you are further energetically connecting to everything it is that I am teaching. So definitely make sure you're tapping into that as well. Okay? Now, copy and paste this link and send it to someone. Okay, there's probably someone that just came to your mind right there as I said that. Copy and paste this link and send it to that person, because I guarantee you this video can help to shift their perspective, and it would be doing them a favor, and you can also do yourself that favor, simply because, you know, when you help other people in that way, the energy always seems to come back. All right, so we'll leave that there. Now I'm going to take your awareness to the most important link within the entire description itself. It is the first link below, and this is my Patreon. Now on my Patreon, I have an entire vault of exclusive content. We have content that covers the occult, deep layers of spirituality, understanding how to do ritualistic practices that support your self-development process, all the way from trauma education, how to better regulate your nervous system by incorporating a healthy foundation in your life. And this is the type of stuff that I work on with my clients during the mentorships it is that I do. So all of this information is over on the Patreon, tons of valuable stuff. I encourage you to look at it. It's exclusive to the Patreon. A lot of time, energy, blood, sweat, and tears that I've put into it for those of you that are taking your studies and your practice to that even deeper level. Okay, so with that being said, now on that same first link, tier number 3 and 4 of the Patreon is extremely unique. This is what's called the Universe B ritual service. This is an actual ritual that I perform. It's the only one that I perform for anyone, and it's on the 29th of every single month that has one, okay? What this is this is an energetic transfer from me to you as the receiving participant to support you through the deeper layers of working with your unconscious mind and integrating your shadow self. Okay, so this ritual that I perform, it initiates you from where you are now, potentially experiencing the hellish aspects of your day-to-day life and your reality. It initiates you into Universe B, which is basically a shadow dimension. And when you start to move into that shadow dimension, you start to actually get to face your deeper unconscious, and you get to come into more understanding of what it's actually trying to show you and teach you. And this ritual that I perform is meant to support you in this initiatory process so that you can further accept these things that are repressed in your system, and then you can process them. You can turn your repressed negative emotions into your biggest gifts and your powers. This can turn on dormant capabilities within your unconscious mind. It can start to ground you more into your central self. And then through time, as you commit to yourself through this process, you may notice that your energetic resonance starts to change, and then that has a significant effect on the entire world around you. So all of this can be supported by this ritual service that I do on the 29th of every single month. The deadline to sign up is the day before. So if you want to take advantage of this, I highly encourage you to do so. Okay, go ahead and check it out. And then let me throw this in too. When you take advantage of this, there is also a Atlantean crystal grid that supports energetic remote transfer from the grid itself to you as the participant. So as soon as you join as a tier number 3 or 4 of the ritual service, you are going to be given information to follow that will allow you to be placed inside of this crystal grid. All right, there's about over 300 members that are continuously participating in this ritualistic service, and I am getting tons of feedback from the people that are taking advantage of it. Positive feedback. So if this is something that you feel like you're in resonance with and you would like to take advantage of for yourself, I would encourage you to do so. First link below. All right, so now in the second link below, this is where you can book a one-on-one call with me, or you can jump into mentorships, okay? This is going to be one of the most intimate ways to personally work with me. I'm gonna be able to work with you one-on-one, go into your own unique trauma history. We're gonna create a foundation for you to better process that trauma and regulate your nervous system. Once we have that whole foundation in place, then we can start getting into occult initiation, and I can also guide you through that process, and I would be more than happy to. Currently, right now, I actually have a full schedule of working with different clients, and I work with people from all over the world. But if you're someone that is resonating with this and you would like to have my support, if you book with me, I will find room to fit you in. And if for some reason there wasn't any room, we will have your appointment scheduled down so that as soon as a slot opens, we're gonna get you right in, and I'm gonna be able to communicate with you right out the gate to let you know what that process looks like, okay? Because I wanna be able to support as many as you that really need it. So if that's something that you feel like you're in resonance with, that's the second link below. Now in the same second link below, you can book a tarot card reading with Alexia. She is a very intuitive-based, gifted tarot card reader. I mean, she is so good at what she does. For the people that have already received readings from her, I've gotten the positive feedback from them where they have said the reading that they got with Alexia was literally one of the best readings, if not the best reading that they've ever received from all the readings they've gotten before. All right, so Alexia can help you pinpoint what's going on internally with your self-development process, and then help you to understand some of the physical things that are going to be taking place in your life in the present moment in accordance to your internal state, and then moving into your near future as well. So if this is something that you resonate with, definitely look into it. You can book that reading with her at the second link below. All right, third link is what is called the Lucifer's Foundation course. This is a course that is going to give you a step-by-step process to follow to develop a healthy relationship with the energy that is known as the light bearer. All right, fourth link below, this is the YouTube memberships. If you want to become a part of the Universal Mastery family, I would absolutely love to have you a part of it. Okay, it's literally what we are. We're a big collective of like-minded individuals that are going through this deep process of self-development, and we're here to support each other through it. So if you're someone that wants to be a part of this collective consciousness, I would love to have you there. Go ahead and join the family. Now also, depending on what tier you are, you're going to gain access to benefits, early content releases, and also some exclusive content as well. Okay, now the final link, that's the fifth link. This is going to be book recommendations for you. For those of you that are studying spirituality or getting into the occult, I would highly recommend these different book recommendations. All right, so with that being said, we're going to wrap it up here. I appreciate all of you very, very, very much, and I hope you all have an amazing rest of the day or night, wherever you are, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.